Hello, good afternoon and welcome to our annual Insolvency conference. My name is Caroline Benfield and I'm a partner in the Insolvency team at Wright Hassel, and I'm delighted that you're all able to join us for our virtual event again this year. We have a packed programme for you this afternoon, and I'd like to thank all of our guest speakers for assisting in collating the programme and for joining us today. I am also joined by my colleague Elizabeth Taylor, who is going to chair the Q&A at the end of each session. So on your screens, you should hopefully see the agenda for today's event. And our first session is going to be led by Joel Finnen of Exchange Chambers. And I'm sure that many, if not most of you, know Joel. He's very experienced in both corporate and personal insolvency and handles all manner of insolvency claims, principally on behalf of office holders. He regularly handles asset recovery, the adjustment of prior transactions, and actions for and against former directors of insolvent companies concerning misfeasance and unlawful distributions. Joel is going to be speaking to us today about the recent decision in Manolete and Hayward and Barrett Holdings, which represents something of a procedural setback for insolvency litigation. And Joel will be taking us through the impacts of that decision for both insolvency practitioners and assignees of insolvency claims. Our second session is hosted by three of my fellow partners at Wright Hassel, Matthew Davies, Joel Wolfe and Michael Hiscock, who are going to speak to us today about the impact of COVID and Brexit on such matters as the supply chain. Matthew's an expert in business immigration law and advises employers, businesses and investors on how best to navigate the complexities of the UK's immigration rules. Joel is a partner in our agricultural team, who I'm sure many of you already know because he has spoken at previous R3 events and some of our previous insolvency events. Joel's work broadly splits into three broad categories. He advises farms and estates on their business structures and continuity planning. He advises insolvency practitioners and LPA receivers in relation to agricultural matters, and he acts for landowners in relation to all types of renewable energy generation and storage. And then Michael is the head of our construction team, and he's a specialist in construction and engineering procurement. He advises on a variety of contract, professional terms of appointment, guarantees and ancillary documentation, and he sits on the Constructing Excellence Midlands Leadership Council. So Matthew, Joel and Michael should finish at about 3 o'clock, and we're going to take a short break until about 3:15. You won't need to log out of the session. A holding page will be put in place and the conference will resume again at 3:15. And then after the break, we're going to be joined by Reuben Kaminsky of Radcliffe Chambers, who again, I'm sure many, if not most of you know. Reuben's practice covers the full spectrum of both corporate and personal insolvency, and he acts for office holders, individuals, directors and insolvent companies in both an advisory and representative capacity. Most of Reuben's practice involves asset recovery and in particular claims involving breaches of director's duty, transactions at undervalue or preferences. Reuben contributes to Kerr and Hunter on administrators and receivers and a practical guide to insolvency litigation, and he's been recommended as a leading junior for insolvency in the Legal 500 since 2008. And Reuben is going to be speaking to us today about the recent Court of Appeal judgment in Al Jabeer and Mitchell, which was handed down on the 30th of July this year. Reuben acted for the respondents in that case, and it was a keenly awaited decision which concerned whether the immunity for suit afforded to participants in court proceedings applies to statements made under oath and by witness statement by an examinee in the course of a private examination conducted under Section 236 of the Insolvency Act. And then our final speaker for today is David Brooks, Chief Investigator at the Insolvency Disservice, and I'm delighted that he's able to join us today because he's going to be speaking about policy within the Insolvency Service on the recovery of fraudulent C-bills and B-bills loans, which is a topic which is at the forefront of all of our minds currently. His session we're anticipating is going to be more of an interactive session. So he's got a short pre-recorded session which we're going to play, and then we're anticipating that we're going to have a number of your questions which we'd like to ask of him. So please do have your questions ready. So as I mentioned at the start, we're going to hold a Q&A at the end of each session. So any questions that you have for the speakers, please do type those into the Q&A box, which you should see at the bottom of your screen. And Liz and I are going to monitor that box and do our best to make sure that those questions are put to our speakers at the end of each session and those questions are answered. So that very much brings us on to the first session this afternoon, and I'm delighted to welcome Joel Finnen of Exchange Chambers, who I'm going to hand over to now. Thank you, Joel.